Shalom, family trendsetter. All praises be to the Most High Power for allowing us to see another day. I need for y'all to bear with me in this video. I am driving, so you will hear some noise in the background. Now, what I notice, a lot of times when people, let's say, bring forth information such as myself, we have a tendency for that moment when we view the video, we like, oh yeah, I like what he or she is saying. And maybe 10, 20 minutes later, everything that was presented to y'all forget about it. Now, remember last year in November, I actually told y'all that something major was going to take place that was going to affect the whole world. Well, we know now that we had the coronavirus that affected the whole world. But what if I was to tell y'all that there's more to come? Now, we know we're dealing with the situation with George Floyd, the protests all over the world, where you have a lot of changes being brought forth. I also mentioned that there was going to be a race war that was going to be taking place here in the United States of America in the event if your commanding thief is not reelected. Either way it goes, it's going to be a race war. Now, a lot of y'all might ask me, how do I know all these things? Because again, we do not hear from God. God doesn't speak to anybody, not even the pastor, the lying pastor that tells y'all that they have a message from God. But what he does do, he or she or it, I don't know who God is, because again, we never met God. We only hear about God from out of a book, the Bible. Now, I do know for a fact that the Bible is prophetic. Now, there's a lot of scriptures in the Bible that was taken from our original record, because the Bible is not our book. It's a so-called white man's book, but they have gathered our information, right? Many of which are prophetic, like prophecies that's going to be told in the New Testament, because they like to say the Revelation actually have a lot of prophecy, which are in fact true. But you have to ask yourself, where did they get these prophecies from? Because remember, when they took us from our land, right, wherever we came from, many of us was already here in the United States of America, because there was already black people, so-called black people here. But when they took us from our land, let's say the ones that actually did make it from the transatlantic slave trade, when they took us from our respective land in so-called Africa, the continent of Africa, they took a lot of our records with us. We had a lot of books and scrolls and so forth that they have stolen from our land, because in a lot of these museums you see they have African art. So they took a lot of our information, translated it, and of course they remixed it. They remade the shit, or rewrote the shit, I should say. That's why they call it the King James Version Bible, because it's a version of a story of a story. So a lot of these prophecies are being fulfilled, and they have gotten it from our records. Now, you remember in the Bible, in the Old Testament, it said we was going to be discontinued from our heritage, right? In other words, we wasn't going to know who we are. That's why we call ourselves African American, named after two continents. But anyway, I told y'all that there was going to be a race war. In the event Trump is not reelected, and you can see right now, based on how everything is going, it's very unlikely that he will be reelected unless Russia step up to the plate and do what they did in 2016. Now, in Birmingham, Alabama, they have basically the KKK going out there threatening to kill the officials that took down their statue. See, these devils worship statues. That's why I don't know for the life of me, why do you guys continue in this religion called Christianity? Because Christianity basically is a splinter group from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was the one that was responsible for creating this religion called Christianity. And everything, incidentally, in the Bible that the Bible tell you not to do, like to bow down and worship images, they do that. They have Mary, they have saints, and they have these statues of their forefather that they erect, and they actually worship these statues. You know what I'm saying? So when you take down one of their gods, one of their statues, they coming to find you. You know what I mean? So family, listen, y'all need to start really and truly paying attention to what's going on. Don't get distracted with all these marching on our behalf. You got all these so-called white people worldwide, other nations marching on our behalf. And that's not because of them want to do it. It's because the Most High is actually stirring up their spirit to side with us. Because see, the 400 years of captivity is over, family. And this is why you see right now they're siding with us. Not because they want to, it's because spiritually they know something is wrong. Something is coming their way, And the only way they can, well, so they think anyway, the only way they think they can escape this judgment that's coming is to side with us. Because remember in the scriptures it says God, right? Well, the Most High, or God, or whatever, in this case I'm going to say the Most High, bless those who bless his people and curse those who curse his people. You know what I'm saying? So this is why they're clinging to us, because spiritually they know something is wrong. Actually, spiritually for us, something is right. You know what I'm saying? Because they're working on our behalf. And another thing, y'all got to remember this too, right? With everything that they have done to us, everything that they have done to us for over 400 years and counting, they expect that by them calling on some nigga named Jesus, somebody that told you to eat of his body and drink of his blood in remembrance of him, or the individual that says he did not come to bring peace on earth but to bring a sword. Oh, let's not forget when he said to hate your mother and father. In other words, this is what he said, paraphrase it. In order to serve him, you have to hate your mother, father, sister, brother, everybody in your family, including yourself, and deny yourself in order to serve him. So to me, that sounds like somebody that wishes to have worship. And I believe the only God, which is the God of this world, which is Satan, he's the only one that requires worship. The Most High, I personally don't believe the Most High require worship. He just require obedience to the law, statutes, and commandments, the 10 commandments, the very least of the 10 commandments he wants us to follow. And it's, it's not grievous. I mean, when you really think about the 10 commandments, it only makes sense. We need something to govern our lives. So I think the only God that require worship is Satan, because see, Satan wants you to worship him, because what he's doing, he's telling the Most High power, the creator of mankind, which are black people, not the hybrids, that, you know what, I'm going to have your people worship me. We don't need to worship a God. All we need to do is obey the law, statutes, and commandments. That's it. Because first and foremost, in order for me to worship a God, him or she or it has to tell me within himself that this is how I want you to worship me. I don't want you telling me through a book, because you have so many different denominations in this one religion called Christianity. So many different denominations. So many different ways of worshiping this one God. So I'm not worshiping no motherfucking God. I am not. Nope, not me. Because you have the Islam, they say, well, their God is Allah, and they worship their God one way. And you have not Muslim, but you have Buddhists worship their God one way. You have Christian worship their God one way. You have Hebrews worship their God one way. How about we just don't worship no God and just follow the law, statutes, and commandments? That's it. I'm not worshiping no God because I don't know how to do it. There's supposed to be only one God, but there's too many different ways to worship, and I'm not doing the shit. I just follow the law, statutes, and commandments, the dietary law. I read the book, the scriptures in the Helio-Biblos Bible, and take away what I can take away from that book, because that book is not ours. That's the so-called white man. They wrote that Bible, but they have our record, our information in the shit. You know what I'm saying? So for me, But again, family, stay on topic real quick. Again, it is going to be a race war, and they're going to target primarily black people, because this is what you got to think about, right? Donald Trump, your commanding thief right now, he is fuming to realize that a guy, a black, so-called black man, according to them, that had a criminal record, which he probably did, right? You have the whole world marching. Listen, if you was to combine the amount of people that's marching on behalf of this black brother, just one black individual, right? I would say probably millions upon millions of people by now. For each day they have been protesting and marching on behalf of George Floyd. It's about millions of people. Donald Trump didn't even have 1 million people at his inauguration. Not even half of 1 million. Okay, so you got to understand that this motherfucker is going to blow the whistle and send a signal to these white supremacists to attack us. Because how dare white people, right, march on our behalf? They're going to target their own people. And it's by design, family. It's by design. The Most High is pouring out the Spirit on them. The Bible says, I believe it's in the Bible. Yeah, it is in the Bible. You know, a kingdom that's divided cannot stand, right? I think it's in the New Testament too, if I'm not mistaken. So Satan kingdom that's now divided will not stand. His offspring are going to be fighting amongst each other, because you have the what they call it, the right wing and the left wing. They going at it. It's on the same bird though. You know what I mean, family? So all I'm going to say to y'all, right, and I want y'all to really and truly take heed to what I'm saying. Y'all need to get whatever money out of the bank that you can get and start, once again, stacking up on items. Try to limit yourself from going outside, okay? Because I'm telling you, especially for those of you who live in the South, like Mississippi and Alabama and even in Atlanta, as much as Atlanta is a black city, y'all got to be careful, because these fucking white supremacists, These hypers, they're gonna target y'all. Even here in Maryland, where I'm at, I'm not curious, but I'm cautious when I'm around these people. For me, you know what I think? I think a lot of you black people that's marching amongst these people, y'all are either bold or stupid. Because me, I am not gonna be marching amongst my enemy. I don't give a fuck how much they're fighting for our rights and equal rights. And first of all, if they didn't put us in the situation, they shouldn't have to be able to take us out of this shit. How about that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying this, right? I'm saying that y'all need to be careful, family, because it's about to get real. Okay? It's a lot of shit that's happening because, you know, Donald Trump term is about to be up, and these white supremacists, they're not liking it because they know, you know, even though for me, Joe Biden is no different than Donald Trump because he's still a devil, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, you know what I'm saying, Donald Trump actually was the one that was allowing them to be themselves. They don't know what kind of law and legislation is going to pass after these protests is done, you know, over and done with. They don't know what kind of change is coming. But let me just say this for the record, family. 2 things I'm going to say before I go. Change is coming. Change is coming like a motherfucker. And reparation that y'all want, it ain't going to be no money. It ain't going to be no in God we trust. Because see, the Most High not going to give us no dollar bill that says in God we trust to put before him. Because many of us black people, we get some money, we going to become a fool. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the Most High is going to give us reparation in the form of money, U.S. currency, because that money don't worth nothing anyway. Right? They print this shit out of thin air. It don't have no value to it. I think the reparation that's coming is going to be bigger than money. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, he's going to deliver his people. You know what I also want to say before I go? I know I keep saying this shit, but I want to, because see, the Most High speak to my spirit as I go. Do y'all believe that we are in the wilderness, family, that we are actually in the wilderness right now as we speak? Because remember, we're not physically in bondage anymore. I believe we're in the wilderness, and the Most High did say he was going to purge out the rebel from amongst us. So I believe a lot of these black brothers and sisters, not saying all of them, but many of them, that, like, for example, George Floyd, he's basically one of the rebels, because his background is not pretty squeaky clean. And the reason why I'm talking about his ass, because I heard that he had a white girlfriend, and y'all know how I feel about interracial relationship. I don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? I believe we're supposed to be separate. And if it is true, which I think it is, because I've seen this girl on videos talk about George Floyd wouldn't have liked this, whatever. So, which means that he was fucking with the enemy, and that's why he got dealt what he got dealt with by the enemy. The same people that he was siding with, was loving up with, is the same people that took him out. And I believe sometimes the Most High will use wicked people to take out wicked people, because that cop, that slave patrol, he was a wicked motherfucker, because he had a history of killing black people and doing a lot of crazy shit too. So he's wicked, and I believe, because unfortunately, I hate to say what I'm about to say, but George, he was dealing with wickedness too. By the mere fact him being with a so-called white woman is wicked enough against Israel, and that's why I believe the Most High judged him. And because he was a sacrifice on behalf of Yasharal black folks, you have this worldwide outrage. You know what I'm saying? A lot of change is about to come, but it's not in the form of what you think. Because see, they thinking they protesting on behalf is they trying to go down in history, trying to be a part of something, because a lot of them don't have nothing else better to do. No, it's the Most High using y'all devils, right? Using y'all devils here in the United States of America to show, matter of fact, you know what? Did y'all ever think about the fact that a lot of these protesters, right, that's damaging fucking buildings and breaking into shit are white people, and they're being exposed worldwide? And that's why you see now you have a worldwide outrage and shit, right, towards these devils out here, especially the police officers and shit, because now they're seeing for the first time what we have been saying for the longest, that we are living in a society that it don't have any. There's no justice system for black folks here, and they're starting to see it. And that's why now the Most High is pouring out the Spirit, and it's becoming like a worldwide event. But family, I gotta go. Listen, I just want y'all again to be careful around these devils. I would suggest that y'all don't go marching around these devils without protecting yourself, because you could be marching alongside of a devil and he put a knife in your side, he or she. You have to be careful. Like I said, y'all must be either brave or stupid. Because me, I'm good. I'm falling back away from my enemy. I'm not marching along my enemy. You know what I'm saying? They think because of the couple of days or a couple of weeks that they've been marching on our behalf, it's gonna, erase the 400 to 500 years of oppression and shit, them killing our people, lynching our men, you know what I'm saying, cutting off they you know what I'm saying, this is, you know what I'm talking about, right? Decapitating their cock and shit, you know what I'm saying? I just listen, I just really and truly can't believe these devils think that you know, they're gonna just most likely just gonna forget about everything that they have done to his people because they want to march with us. Nah, they marching with us, family, because guess what? They know what's coming. Anyway, family, I gotta go. With that, I say shalom.